Alrighty, Anthony Taylor here in the Upper Cumberland Weather Center with a live update on the complex of storms that is moving in here into the Upper Cumberland. I know it's been an active afternoon. Multiple severe thunderstorm warnings issued this afternoon. Unfortunately, my schedule, and as I mentioned before, I do work a full-time job that isn't this, so trying to balance between that and weather. Sometimes there are conflicts there that do arise. So we're doing the best we can, but we are live right now and providing an update. So let me get comments pulled up here, trying to get our bearings here. So if you've been looking for me, again, I want to apologize. Again, I do have a full-time job, like I mentioned, that isn't this. We are working towards this being my full-time job. That's part of the reason we're building this new studio and all of that. And anyway, we can talk more about that later. But we have a mess of severe thunderstorm warnings that have been issued really across our northern half of the Upper Cumberland here, everywhere from Lafayette to Jamestown, Gainesboro, Cookeville, Carthage, Livingston, all under severe thunderstorm warnings right now, and all for the same concern: damaging straight line winds in excess of 60 miles per hour, in addition for the potential for some quarter size diameter hail. These storms are moving towards the southeast at about 30 to 40 miles per hour. It's like the Weather Service is saying, about 30 mile per hour movement with these storms, again, towards the south and southeast. So this storm complex originated up at Kentucky and has dropped south. In the meantime, we had scattered storm cells develop out ahead of this line that prompted a few severe thunderstorm warnings for some of our southern and eastern areas. But again, here's the situation right now. Let's talk about another severe thunderstorm warning just issued. So really, more than half of the Upper Cumberland region, our viewing area, really, if you're along or north of I-40, you are in a severe thunderstorm warning right now. So a lot of polygons there on screen, but everywhere you see yellow, there is a severe thunderstorm warning in effect right now. And again, that threat being damaging straight line winds in excess of 60 miles per hour. Our strongest activity right now located in the Carthage area, up into defeated difficult, extending up just south of Lafayette, over into Jackson County, Gainesboro, down into Cookeville, Livingston, and up into Jamestown, Byrdstown, against where our strongest storm activity is occurring. And anywhere you see these reds, that is indicative of very torrential rainfall, as well as the potential for some embedded hail, perhaps up to quarter size in diameter. And again, we have that threat of damaging straight line winds in excess of 60 miles per hour. No tornado threat imminent right now with any of this. We cannot rule out a quick spin up within any of this activity, but this is mainly a damaging straight line wind threat that we're looking at with this complex of storms as it rolls through. As we mentioned earlier this morning, we did mention the potential for scattered storms this afternoon, maybe another complex of storms later this evening, but we also mentioned there's a lot of nuance, a lot of unpredictability. It's a summertime environment, very difficult to predict how these storms will behave. And this line is coming on through. There could still potentially be an evening round of storms. We'll have to wait and see with that. But right now we want to cover what's moving through the Upper Cumberland right now. But again, strong storms, again, extending really everywhere you see these yellow polygons where the severe thunderstorm warnings are in effect. You can see that information scrolling at the bottom of your screen, the warning times and so forth. So again, no active tornado threat. I know we have a couple of communities or cities, for whatever reason, sound their tornado sirens for severe thunderstorm warnings, which should be a big no-no. But again, rest assured that we're not looking at an active tornado threat. Now, you can get a quick spin up in this environment with that threat is there, but it's a very low end threat. If we did have a spin up, it would very likely happen too quickly for a warning to be issued for it. So, but again, right now we're mainly looking at a damaging straight line wind threat with this, as well as potential for some quarter size diameter hail. We can look at the velocity view and see if we can find any areas of potential rotation within this. And again, we could get a quick spin up. There's one area here, actually literally just south of me here in Defeated, near the campground, potential rotation aloft there. But again, we'll have to see if the Weather Service does anything with that. But it's little areas like that we'll have to watch for the potential for a quick spin up. If something did spin up, it would be a very weak tornado, kind of like we saw in Murfreesboro yesterday randomly at the campus of MTSU. If y'all saw that video, looked like a brief tornado near the football stadium, Floyd Stadium, and Murfreesboro. So it would be that kind of deal if anything did pop up. But again, we're mainly looking at, again, a damaging straight line wind threat, hail potential, and of course torrential rain, flash flooding could occur in some areas, especially in locations that have already seen heavy storms today. We have no imminent flash flooding risk, but again, we want to point that out, that that is a concern with these storms. Again, just a mess of storms. Really pick out your location, and you're probably under a warning right now if you're longer north of I-40. For those farther north, Lafayette, Salina, Byrdstown, this activity is finally beginning to subside for you a little bit, which is good news for you. With the heavier activity again sliding south. So again, if you're in Carthage right now, you hear the thunder, you probably see the lightning. You need to be indoors, away from windows, inside a sturdy structure. Again, not an imminent tornado threat with any of this. We're looking mainly again at a straight line wind, hail, and torrential rain, and of course lots of lightning. I'm in the defeated area of Smith County. I can hear the thunder outside. It's not quite continuous, but pretty close. Looks like we have a lot of lightning being detected here across southern and central portions of Jackson County. So again, just some nasty storms. You don't want to drive out in this as this rolls through. Again, severe thunderstorm warning is in effect. Current time is 3:16, so looks like these latest warnings, all three of these warnings are set to expire at 4 p.m. and that's central time. So again, very, very low risk of a tornado with any of this activity. No active tornado warnings. This is, again, these warnings right now are for the threat of damaging straight line winds and small and large hail. And again, that's for all areas that are under a warning right now. So if you don't hear me calling out a specific location, again, please look at the radar screen. We have a lot of areas under a warning right now, again, extending from Carthage to Jamestown, Cookeville, and points in between. So your best bet, if you're in any of these areas, is to just be indoors right now, be away from windows. With the lightning, you don't want to, take a bath or anything like that. You want to let these storms pass before resuming any activities. Farther south, Smithville, Sparta, Crossville, Spencer, McMinnville. If these storms continue on their same track, if they hold together, and they have held together pretty well through Kentucky, these will likely be reaching you within the next 1 to 2 hours. So again, if you're from Smithville to Sparta, Crossville, here within the next 30 minutes to an hour for you, and then probably closer to an hour to 2 hours for McMinnville and Spencer. And again, this is for this activity to your north, and that's not accounting for any storms that could pop out ahead of this. So just a mess of storms here on radar with this cluster. Again, very strong storms. You could probably hear the thunder on my mic being picked up. So again, we will stay with these. Again, I want to apologize. I know we've had warnings being issued really for the last couple of hours now. We've had at least 1 or 2 severe thunderstorm warnings, and now this complex is hit. But as I mentioned before, I do have other things going on in my life. I do have a job that isn't this. So, of course, I'm very blessed with the opportunity to be able to go live when I need to, but it's just been an afternoon with already several things scheduled that I'd had to attend to first before I could jump on live with coverage. So I've done my best to provide a couple of updates on our social media feeds. But now here I am live covering these storms again as they now drop south here into the upper Cumberland. We do still have the potential for evening, nighttime storms. We'll talk more about that later. So again, this may not be it for the day. We'll have to wait and see. A lot of wait and see with this system. Again, with summertime, a lot of nuance with these storms. It's not like in the springtime or in the fall or the wintertime you get a nice squall line that moves through with a cold front. This isn't that type of situation. So again, these storms are kind of doing their own thing. They are conformed kind of to a line. It's more like a cluster of storms, but again, they are very strong. They're very rowdy, but also very difficult to predict, especially far in advance. So again, we've had to really rely upon radar trends to see where these storms might end up as they've drifted south. So again, we're live. No imminent tornado threat. Again, I want to repeat that. We can look at our velocities here. I'm not seeing anything that's really standing out there, which is good. My lights here are flickering, which makes me wonder if the power grid's taking some hits. So I wouldn't be surprised if we have some power outages that result from these storms. Again, just a tremendous and very electrical storms. So we can go to Carthage here. Again, very strong storm moving into Carthage. Just pushed through Gainesboro, shifting south of you. soon, well, are storming in Cookeville, but you're going to be in a heavy storm there for a while. That actually concerns me for Cookeville because, again, it's already raining heavily there with some training of heavy rain continuing for the Cookeville area. So we may have to watch out for some localized flooding issues, especially in those trouble spots there in the city of Cookeville that are prone to flooding. We may have to watch for that over the next hour or so. Definitely a concern with that. And again, farther east here across Overton County. I don't want to leave anyone out. It's just it's storming everywhere right now. If you're along and north of I-40, it's probably storming, except for like Boma, that area, Silver Point, Buffalo Valley. You're like the only area north of I-40 where it's not yet storming, but it will be soon. You will soon be joining in on this. Looks like we had a new severe thunderstorm warning issue. That may be a delayed notification on my end. So again, wouldn't be surprised if we hear of some power outages. These storms again are moving towards the south at about 30 miles per hour. So again, if you're in Smithville, Sparta, Crossville, again, within the next 30 minutes to an hour, these storms will be to you. Crossville a little sooner for you, maybe in the next 15 to 30 minutes. These storms will be moving into the city of Crossville. Sparta probably within the next 30 minutes or so. Same for Smithville. And the farther south you are, McMinnville, Spencer, maybe looking at it around 1 to 2 hours for these storms to arrive. And that's depending on if they speed up, slow down, if this complex weakens any, strengthens. Again, a lot of nuance with this. Very unpredictable situation. All we know for certain is there's a lot of lightning with these, a lot of heavy rain, and again, that potential for damaging straight line winds as these drift towards the south. So again, you want to be indoors. You don't want to head out. I would highly recommend or advise against not hitting I-40 right now anywhere in the Upper Cumberland, even in Cumberland County. Despite not as much storm activity down your way, I would just wait for these storms to pass. It'll take a good hour or so to get a lot of this through from north to south. And then, of course, the farther north you are, again, just hold tight till this heavier activity moves out before you proceed with wherever you need to go. These are fairly dangerous storms. Again, a lot of lightning. You don't want to get outdoors just because of the lightning threat with these alone. But again, you don't want to drive in a damaging wind situation or with the torrential rain that's ongoing with these too. So again, from Carthage, Gainesboro, Cookeville, Monterey, up to Livingston, I definitely recommend just staying put wherever you're at. I know it's getting close to head out the door if you're at work or wherever, but again, just hold tight for a bit and wait for these storms to move on through. Again, if you're in Lafayette, Salina, Byrdstown, Dale Hollow Lake, activity has quieted down quite a bit. Same for Jamestown. Jamestown, you're still in the severe thunderstorm warning, but again, these storms have weakened and pushed south of you for Jamestown. So again, just some light to moderate rain showers for you. So again, there is your very active radar picture. I'm going to zoom out here, and we will put radar in motion over the last few hours so you can see just how these storms have progressed. Again, this complex developed over western Kentucky and has drifted south and again just continued to gain a lot of momentum as it's moved here into the Upper Cumberland. It's very strong storms. Again, severe thunderstorm warnings extending all across our central and northern areas. And again, this same activity is drifting south. Again, this is just one complex of storms. We could potentially have another round later this evening. I'll have to, once things settle down on my end, I'll have to dig into some of the latest model data, although the models really haven't been the most reliable here lately. Again, it's summertime, so a lot of unpredictability in this kind of environment that we're in right now. But we could potentially have another round of storms later on this evening. So again, that is something we'll have to watch for. But again, nothing we can't handle here. Just again, you want to be indoors. Don't have to take your tornado precautions or anything like that right now, unless a warning is issued. But right now, we're not seeing anything like that. We're just looking at, again, some very strong, very stout storms. You just don't want to mess with these. You want to be indoors again until these pass. And once they get on out of here, then you can go about your business. I guess if there's one positive thing with these, it's been very hot this afternoon in some areas. And the rain is definitely helping to cool things down a bit. Just maybe not in the way we would like. Another benefit from all this, we have been in a drought, especially for our southern and central areas. I would imagine the next drought report, if not this week's and definitely next week's, I expect to see some pretty drastic improvement for sure across the region. So definitely some much needed rains. It's just we would like to see it a little bit more spread out than all at once like this. But again, there is your radar picture. Tell you what, let me step away for just one moment and then we will continue our coverage. I'm going to put this in motion so you can see how these storms have moved over the last couple of hours, and then I'll be back in just a second. All right, there I am. Live coverage continues here in the Upper Cumberland Weather Center. Again, I'm Anthony Taylor here, walking y'all through these storms on this stormy Tuesday afternoon here in the Upper Cumberland. Again, we've had a complex of storms that developed over western areas of Kentucky that has dropped south here into the Upper Cumberland and prompted numerous severe thunderstorm warnings to be issued. So again, this is what we're covering right now. Tremendous amount of lightning embedded within these storms, in addition to torrential rain, and again that potential for damaging straight line winds in excess of 60 miles per hour, and the potential for some quarter-size hail embedded as well. In fact, seeing a couple indications of hail potentially here in the Cookeville area here near Lake Valley, just southeast of town, and again just a tremendous amount of lightning embedded within these storms. And again, these storms are moving towards the south. Heaviest activity right now located between Hartsville, Carthage, now moving out of Gainesboro, pushing south, extending down into Cookeville, soon to move into Baxter, up into Livingston, and into Monterey. Again, is where the strongest activity currently resides. And again, movement is towards the south at about 30 miles per hour. And again, I know y'all couldn't hear me there for a minute. Y'all should be able to hear me now. I did turn my mic off. We've got her back on now. And we are rolling. I want to thank our sponsors there. You can see sponsors over Upper Cumberland Weather Live channel. They make this coverage possible. I want to thank those who've donated towards our new studio fundraiser. Should make going live in these type situations much easier. And of course, as we're growing, eventually I'll be full-time with this. And we won't be in a situation like this afternoon where I've had other things going on that prevented me from going live when I needed to. So again, we can talk more about that later. But right now, again, this is your storm cluster right now, really mainly impacting areas along and north of I-40. And again, all of this is moving towards the south at about 30 miles per hour. So in addition to the threat of damaging winds, we are also concerned about the potential for localized flooding, especially in areas like Cookeville. It's been raining heavily in Cookeville for the better part of the last 20 to 30 minutes or so, with a lot more heavy rain still to come over the next 30 minutes. So again, Cookeville floods easily in some areas, and that is definitely something I'm concerned about. No imminent flooding risk, but again, I just want to point that out, that with all this heavy rain, especially training over some of the same areas that have already seen heavy rain, again, that is a threat we'll have to watch out for this afternoon. We can take a look at some of our tower cams. Here's the view from Carthage. That is not a current view. Let's give that a moment to reload the current view in Carthage. Give that just a moment. There it goes. And again, it is just coming a heck of a storm. You can see our camera shaking there in the wind. Again, that potential for damaging winds in excess of 60 miles per hour. Definitely getting at least some 30 to 40 mile per hour winds, it looks like, in Carthage, if not stronger. So again, these are nasty, vicious storms. Not tornadic that we can see right now. Not too worried about any spin-up tornadoes with this. Cannot rule one out. But again, damaging straight-line winds can still do damage in their own right. So again, that is something we are for sure concerned about. Here's the view from Cookeville. Again, take a moment for this to reload. This is not a current image. Again, this is cached imagery. Here we go. So here's Cookeville right now. Again, this is looking towards the south there along Willow Avenue, back towards the interstate. And again, you can see the camera shaking there in the wind too. Very similar scene to what we've seen in Carthage. Again, skies are so dark right now in Cookeville, you can see all of the street lights have come on there in Cookeville. So again, nasty storm all around for many areas. We can go to Gainesboro, and again, similar scene in Gainesboro. Camera shaking there in the wind. And again, I believe we may have to wait a moment for this image to update. There it goes. And again, just a lot of wind energy with these storms. Tremendous amount of lightning that we can see being detected here with these storms. And again, we have these active severe thunderstorm warnings that continue until 4 p.m. So again, if you are in any of these warning polygons, as we get the radar pulled up, you'll definitely want to be indoors until these storms pass. Again, a lot of wind with this, torrential rain, frequent cloud-to-ground lightning. So these are dangerous storms, not tornadic. You don't have to be in your tornado safe spot, but you definitely want to be indoors until these pass. I definitely advise against getting out on the road and driving around until these pass, especially if you're in the storm. Now, the farther north you are, Gainesboro, it's already starting to let up in Gainesboro a little bit. Same for Salina. Northern areas of Smith County up back into Lafayette, Red Bull Springs, Byrdstown. Just some light rain for y'all right now, maybe a little bit of lightning. But again, it's farther south where this complex currently resides. And for areas like Smithville, Sparta, this will be to you probably within the next 20 minutes or so. Crossville, you're now starting to get in on this, although you're not in a warning at the moment. And then farther south, McMinnville and Spencer, probably within the next hour, these storms will be knocking on your door too. So again, just a very active afternoon here. Definitely some well-needed rains, especially for our central and southern areas. We'll take the rain. We don't want any flooding issues to result from this, but we could use the rain, especially in areas that are still dealing with some of those drought conditions. But again, we can do without the severe weather for sure. But again, nothing we can't handle here. We can deal with these types of storms. They are rowdy. I wouldn't be surprised if we hear some trees down. I know we've had some reports of that, I believe, in Overton County. Again, I've had a busy afternoon. Just other things going on. I can't always be here, unfortunately, sometimes, but we are here live right now. So I'll have to comb through some of those reports later. But I wouldn't be surprised if we have additional reports of trees down, maybe some power outages. I know our power flickered here and actually went out briefly before I went live. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do have, I think some of you are actually reporting power outages in different areas. So again, very electrical, strong storm for sure. I wouldn't be surprised if we see these warnings continue farther south. So areas like Smithville, Sparta, Crossville may be added into the severe thunderstorm warning here pretty soon. Again, as these storms continue to move towards the south. Let's see, on my end, I'm going to pull up a couple of things here. A couple of resources. All right, there's that. better picture of the chat here. So give me one moment, if y'all don't mind. One great thing about our new studio that we're working on. Actually, my plan was to actually be there today. Definitely had a change in plans there. Working. Storms had different plans, so we're here in our old bedroom setup. But one good thing about our new studio will be going live will be a breeze. Nothing to set up or anything. It'll already be ready to go. I won't be in a spare bedroom anymore, unless it's like middle of the night or something and something pops up and I need to go live. But we'll have an actual TV studio and a lot of resources at our disposal with that. And it's just going to be a good thing all around. Definitely a huge, vast improvement from the setup that we have right now. Looking at the Weather Service chat, no new updates as of right now. Again, strongest activity right now located along I-40, including New Middleton, Gordonsville, and Smith County over into Lancaster, Silver Point, up into Cookeville, Baxter, and over into Monterey. Again, is where our strongest storm activity is currently located. Farther west, if we have anyone watching in Wilson County, also storming pretty hard in the Lebanon area. And again, same story for you along I-40 extending down into Watertown or just north. Again, all this activity is pushing towards the south at about 30 miles per hour. So again, we're going to continue to watch these storms. These severe thunderstorm warnings are set to expire, all three of them at 4 p.m. But again, I would not be surprised if we see a new warning issued farther south, or multiple warnings potentially. So again, we're just kind of monitoring the Weather Service chat for that. Looking at comments now, I happen to notice Richard's comment. Anthony, is new studio far from your home? No, it is not. It's depends how fast I want to drive. I can be there in like 5 to 6 minutes or in 10 minutes, depending. Again, that is creepy, the eye above me, Rare. I don't know what's going on there. But no, I can be there pretty quick. So in the event of a like a random warning or something issued middle of the night situation, I can get there pretty quick. Although I will be set up here. I won't have the whole setup going here. Nearly all of this is going to the new studio, and it is all the stuff we're building out there. But I will still have the capacity to go live, at least in some sort of basic level, if the need arises from my home here. So it won't be this same setup or anything close to it, but I can still have some lights and camera and everything, so we can certainly make do with what we have. Justin asks, any talks of flash flood warning or watch is dumping buckets with no signs of slowing down? Again, that's what I've been talking about. We do have some concerns for flooding. In fact, the Weather Service did issue a flood advisory. You might can see that scrolling at the bottom of your screen there. It's not lighting up because the severe thunderstorm warning takes precedent, but this flood advisory includes portions of Jackson, Overton, and Putnam counties. Includes Cookeville, Livingston, Gainesboro, Allgood, Monterey, Cummins Falls State Park, Rickman, and Whitleyville. And again, this is for the potential of minor flooding in low-lying and poor drainage areas, just like we've been discussing. So again, we do have an active flood advisory again for the areas I just mentioned. And again, if this continues, it who knows, it could be upgraded to a flash flood warning. But for right now, we're at the advisory status. But again, just furthers my point of, you don't want to drive in this right now. Let this pass, this heavier activity. It's taking its time. I think it's slowed down just a little bit, it seems like. But again, let this pass before heading out. If you're farther north from Lafayette, anywhere, Macon, Clay, Pickett counties, northern Smith, Jackson, Overton, really all of Fentress County, you're good to go right now. You can continue on with your day. The farther south you are, again, this is where our storm activity is the strongest. from Watertown into Gordonsville, extending all across Putnam County. Really, anywhere you are in Putnam County, it is storming heavily. Looks like we might have some hail here just east of Cookeville, east of Highway 111 here, south of Allgood. So, again, some embedded hail with this as well. And again, we had that flood advisory issued too. Everyone should have sound right now. I went back to the comments there for a second. Debbie says no sound. If you're on Facebook, there's like a little, well, I guess you can't hear me, but there should be a little button you can push, the little horn looking button, speaker button. I think Mike can toggle that on or off, or turn Bluetooth off. Or I don't know. I don't know what the situation is for you, but again, everybody should be able to hear me though. And it is the great thing too about our live coverage is I can look at comments. I try to look at them, but sometimes I get caught up in the storm and I forget that I can actually look at these and get reports from y'all. And I'm getting a lot of delayed alerts here. Where I live, I don't have cell service, so we're on the Wi-Fi calling, and normally it's pretty good. We're getting a lot of delayed stuff today from NWS. So anytime you hear that going off, that's a warning, but it's so far for things that have already expired. Smithville, Sparta, you're not in this warning yet. The Weather Service has not indicated. Actually, looks like they are going to issue a new warning for the western end of this line. So potentially DeKalb County, you may be getting a warning. Same for Cannon County here momentarily. I don't know how far east this warning will extend, but the Weather Service has indicated they are going to issue a new severe thunderstorm warning here shortly for the western portion of this storm. Crossville, I would suspect you probably won't be included in this. You're kind of lucking out with all this. You're not getting the heaviest rain or storm. Some moderate showers still to come your way, but it looks like the heavier storm activity is going to miss you just to the west if everything goes as it looks right now. Again, I don't know why the siren is going off in Carthage. I mean, I know why. They have it programmed to sound for severe thunderstorm warnings. Listen, I'm about beat. I'm trying to fight that. I wish they would just only sound it for tornado warnings, or at least severe thunderstorm warnings that have the tornado possible tag, or maybe destructive warnings with the 80 plus mile per hour wind. But again, this isn't that kind of warning though. This is just a damaging 60 mile per hour wind threat. So again, there's no reason to sound the siren for that. But again, I'm about done trying to fight that battle. I don't know. I know there's a few other communities, I think, that also do the same thing, and a lot of it just goes back to the siren company. It's just whatever agreement they have in place for issuing, for sounding the sirens for certain types of warning. Again, it's just not a debate that I'm as interested in being a part of anymore, because no one wants to listen to me or the Weather Service or anyone else in the weather enterprise who knows what they're talking about with this. But I digress. Again, that's not to pick on anyone in particular. I just, my email is anthony@uppercumberlandweather.com. I'd love to meet with anyone in these areas who would like to discuss their siren systems. But those that only those sounding for tornado warnings only, they got the right idea for sure. And again, that new severe thunderstorm warning did just come across. It includes southern Smith County, including Gordonsville, New Middleton, Brush Creek, Alexandria, Liberty, and DeKalb County. Barely clips Smithville, western areas of Smithville, Snows Hill, and points south. Also extends into northwestern Warren County, McMinnville city limits, just barely outside this warning. Maybe the northern edge of the city limits are in the warning. But anyway, there is your new severe thunderstorm warning. So the Weather Service is pointing out this portion of the storm here from Mount Juliet to Noreen, Watertown, is currently the strongest, with the potential for damaging winds and large hail. Again, we can see that wind energy pretty clearly here on the velocity view, where you see these brighter reds. Again, you might have some winds anywhere from 50 to 60 miles per hour within this storm, again extending from Gladeville to Alexandria. So again, that is your new severe thunderstorm warning. And well, that was odd. So new severe thunderstorm warning also farther east. So they are going to go ahead and warn this portion too, south of Cookeville. But if y'all saw that, it lit up on the screen and disappeared. That was very, very strange. But this severe thunderstorm warning includes, there it is. So new warning, Cookeville and points south, includes central southern Putnam County, eastern DeKalb County, northeastern Warren County, northern Van Buren County, all of White County, and far western portions of Cumberland County. Both of these warnings are set to expire at 5:30 p.m. and that is Central Time. If we have anyone in Eastern Time watching us. So again, there are your new severe thunderstorm warnings, and again, the concerns remain the same: damaging straight line winds in excess of 60 miles per hour, in addition to quarter-size hail. Let's take a look at our Smithville camera. Again, it'll take a moment for this to load, but maybe we can see the storm again as it approaches Smithville. So there you can see the dark skies there. Ooh, let's got a nice little shelf cloud there in Smithville. Let's see if we can move that camera around and get a better view of that shelf cloud. I do have control over this camera now. Special thanks to DeKalb County EMA for making that possible. But we are going to pan this a little bit further east, and we should be able to get a very good view of this shelf cloud as it rolls into Smithville. So this will update here in just a second where I moved it. But again, you can see that rolling on in, though. Very, very strong storm. Again, with the potential for damaging straight line winds in excess of 60 miles per hour. Again, this is the current live view right now from Smithville of a severe storm now rolling into Cookeville. There's a good example, too, on screen of Scud there, the middle of your screen. Well, now going more towards the left side of your screen. That is a Scud cloud. That is not a tornado. That's just a CLC, creepy-looking cloud extending down from this shelf cloud. But again, that is nothing tornadic. You can see nothing is rotating with that, so nothing to be concerned about there. But really textbook Scud there. That's really awesome. We're getting to see that on camera. Let's see. I'm just looking at some information here from the Weather Service again. Live view of Smithville right now as this storm rolls in. Again, new severe thunderstorm warning. Actually, a pair of severe thunderstorm warnings in effect till 5:30, and this does include the city of Smithville. And again, damaging straight line winds in excess of 60 miles per hour and quarter-size hail remain the primary concerns with this activity as it moves towards the south. Looks like these storms are moving at about 50 miles per hour, so they have sped up a little bit from earlier, and are now rolling into Smithville and Sparta. So we can go to the Sparta tower cam. That is a great example of Scud right there, if I've ever seen one. But anyway, let's go to Sparta. And it's not bright and sunny there in Sparta right now. I'll have to give that a moment to load the new image in. And again, you can see the camera starting to really shake in the wind there as those strong winds begin to approach Sparta right now. So again, you want to be indoors. Smithville, Sparta, Pleasant Hill, all these locations are calling out. If you're in central, southern DeKalb County, or really anywhere in DeKalb County, anywhere in White County, again, you want to be indoors right now, away from windows until the storm passes. No imminent tornado threat with this, but still you want to take the storm seriously. A lot of wind energy embedded within this, and again, that potential for damaging straight line winds, large hail, of course, a tremendous amount of lightning, frequent cloud to ground lightning embedded within these storms. And again, you want to again be indoors until this passes. Going back to Smithville now. Smithville Tower Cam. Again, really should be See a lot of shaking there. Again, what we're looking at there is a bunch of scud. Those are scud clouds, not a tornado, so nothing tornadic with that. It's not rotating. Looks creepy, of course, on the tower cam image. But again, that is not tornadic, but definitely a textbook scud cloud for sure. So whenever you hear me talk about scud clouds, creepy looking clouds, whatever, that's what I'm talking about right there. A lot of people mistake that for tornadoes, but that is not what we're looking at there. But again, you see the wind really picking up now in Smithville as the leading edge of the storm moves in. We can go back to radar now. And again, you can see where those brighter reds and oranges, again, approaching Smithville. That's where the leading edge of the storm is currently located. Same story for Sparta as well. Farther north, Cookeville still storming very hard. On up all throughout Putnam County right now. The farther north you are, Smith County, other than the areas along the DeKalb County line, this storm is beginning to weaken for you considerably as a stronger activity pushes south of you. So just some light rain now for most of Smith County. Same for Trousdale County, Macon County. It's mostly all come to an end for you. So I think the Weather Service has gone ahead and dropped the severe thunderstorm watch for some of these areas. Salina, Byrdstown, Livingston, Jamestown, still some light moderate rain shower still in the area, but none of that is severe. And I can give the all clear, I think, at this point to all of Overton County. Of course, Fentress, Pickett, Clay, y'all aren't in the warning right now. Central, northern Smith County from Carthage and points north, and really all of Jackson County, I can give you the all clear as well. It's really from areas from Lancaster over into Cookeville, Baxter, Monterey, and points south, Sparta, Smithville, and areas in between that we're watching right now again for that threat of damaging straight line winds in excess of 60 miles per hour and quarter-sized hail. Not seeing a whole lot of hail indicators here, but definitely seeing the potential for straight line winds as we've seen on our tower cams with those shaking as these storms roll in. So again, very strong storms. Let's go back to our Sparta tower cam. Again, as the leading edge of this storm rolls into Sparta. And again, you'll see the camera shaking. Rain is really picking up there. You can see that now in the image as it catches up with real time. A lot of wind with this. Again, we are hearing of some power outages. Y'all have reported some power outages throughout the region. And not too surprised by that. A lot of embedded lightning within these storms. And of course, the wind. A lot of wind energy with this. Again, potential for damaging straight line winds in excess of 60 miles per hour. And I would not be surprised if we are approaching that in Sparta right now, as we can see very clearly on our tower cam there with the wind shaking the camera there in Sparta. And again, we have the Smithville camera as well. So we'll go back to Smithville. And again, give this just a moment to catch up to real time. And again, not as much shaking there. Looks like the stronger wind energy might be just to the west of Smithville, just south of Liberty, there along the Cannon, DeKalb County line. So again, but still a strong storm regardless. Smithville and all of DeKalb County, you are in this severe thunderstorm warning until 5:30 p.m. It's currently, or 4:30 p.m. I should say. It's currently, I think I've been saying 5:30, I meant 4:30, but it's currently 3:54 p.m. right now. A little bit ahead of myself there on the timings. But again, going back to radar. And again, no imminent tornado threat with this right now. But we cannot rule out the potential for a quick spin up anywhere within this complex, especially along the leading edge. So from Smithville over into Sparta, points in between, again, cannot rule out a quick spin up within this, but again, the threat is low, and if anything did spin up, it would likely be very weak and short-lived. So that's the good news there. But again, mainly looking at that damaging wind threat with this. Putnam County EMA reports several flooded roads in the Cookeville area. Again, we've mentioned that with a lot of heavy rain. Of course, Cookeville, it doesn't take much to flood. A lot of heavy rain has fallen over Cookeville over the past hour or so, and still continuing to come down pretty good in Cookeville. So again, if you're in the Cookeville area, you are under a flood advisory for a little while. You just take it easy. If you come across a flooded roadway, again, as we tell you all the time, turn around, don't drown. Do not attempt to cross a flooded roadway. And again, I know a lot of areas have lost power just due to how strong these storms are. That is another benefit of our new studio facility. We will have a generator, and we'll be able to easily switch generator power. So we have battery backup systems right now, but then we'll have that added benefit of the generator, plus the main fiber hookup for that area, the hub, is actually located next to the building we're in. So we should hopefully, knock on wood, not lose connection during a severe storm, unless it's just really, really bad. But under most circumstances, we should be able to continue live, even in the worst of storms. So thankfully, with this one, we did not lose power, at least not while we've been live. I did lose power briefly right before I hopped on here. Again, some of you reporting, Jennifer Henry says we had a big limb fall in our yard. And again, it would not be surprised. We have a lot of reports of tree limbs down. Let's go back to Sparta again. It's storming really hard in Sparta right now. Again, this image is a few minutes old, so we'll have to wait for that to load in the current image from Sparta. But again, very strong storm right now over Sparta. Again, with that severe thunderstorm warning in effect till 4:30. Seeing the potential for some quarter-size hail within this storm as well, just north of downtown Sparta. Approaching Rainbow Hills, right along Highway 111, between Rainbow Hills and Yankeetown, and that'll again be dropping into Sparta here momentarily. So we may have some hail in Sparta, just heads up here in a matter of moments. Smithville, we'll go back to the tower cam there. The heaviest rain is still just to your north in Smithville, but it is coming your way. So again, there is the view from Smithville. Again, this is a few moments old. Rain not as heavy in Smithville right now at the moment. You can see dark clouds there with that shelf cloud moving overhead, but again, the heaviest rains are just a few moments away. So give it a few minutes and it will be coming a good downpour, good frog strangler there in Smithville, and again, strong winds embedded within that as well. Farther north, I can give the all clear to Smith County at this point. Strongest activity is pushed south of you, is now across northern and central DeKalb County. Putnam County, if you're in Cookeville or points west and north of I-40, so all good Baxter and points north, I'll give you an all clear, but do watch for the potential for some flooding, ponding of water on roadways and such, and also could be some downed trees and power lines as well with these strong storms that roll through. So again, you want to take it easy. If you come across a flooded roadway, again, do not attempt to cross it. Crossville, you're getting pretty lucky here. The heaviest storm activity is just to your west. If you're in Crossville, you're not in the warnings. So again, just raining lightly right now in Crossville. Could pick up a bit here in a little while with this more moderate shower there near Woody and Bowman. But again, the heavier, severe activity is missing you just to the west. So anywhere you see these yellow polygons, that's where we have active severe thunderstorm warnings. And primarily focusing on areas from Smithville and points north across northern DeKalb County, really all of White County at this point, and up into Monterey and eastern Putnam County. And again, all this activity is moving towards the south at about 50 miles per hour. So McMinnville, Spencer, you're next up for this. In the next 30 minutes or so, this will be knocking on your door, maybe a little sooner for Spencer. And again, these storms have held together for a long time. In fact, we'll put radar in motion. We'll back this up several hours. can see just how these storms have progressed since about noon today. These storms originated near the Indiana-Kentucky state line and have continued to move towards the south over the past few hours, and have been severe pretty much the entire way. We started seeing warnings issued across western Kentucky, and this complex has been severe warned pretty much the entire way as it's dropped south here into the upper Cumberland region. So the one benefit from all this, though, we are getting some well-needed rains, so we'll take that. It's just we don't want the severe weather. We also don't want any flash flooding, but unfortunately we may have to deal with some of those issues. According to Michelle, Willow and Cookville is already flooded. Again, not surprised in the least by that. Again, these are summer storms. Summer storms have a mind of their own. Now, this system really has its act together. It's held together pretty well, but we don't have like a cold front or anything driving all this like we would see in the spring months or in the wintertime, fall. This is kind of its own deal, which makes it really difficult to kind of predict, at least in advance. We knew the potential for storms was there this afternoon, but again, there was no way to know that we would have a complex like this roll through early this afternoon. We just knew that the conditions were ripe for the potential of a few storms, and it looks like everyone's going to get some storm activity before all is said and done from this system. So let's back out of this. I'm going to turn warnings off, and we're going to take a look at future radar. So I know a lot of y'all are probably wondering what we can expect later on this evening. So we're going to go forward in time, and again, models have not handled this system very well, so please keep that in mind. This is future radar at about 4 to 5 p.m. You see these storms continue to move towards the south. In fact, this run of this model, even though the storms are dropping south towards McMinnville and Spencer, you can see just how off these models have been. It shows these storms moving more east of us, which we know is not the case. But going ahead in time, again, this particular model run actually isn't really showing any second round of storms. So again, I won't totally rule out the possibility, because previous model runs have shown a second batch of storms rolling through later this evening, but as of right now, again, this particular model run's not showing it. So again, maybe we'll luck out there and this will be it, but again, really can't rule out the potential for at least some scattered showers and storms later this evening and tonight. But as of right now, this model isn't showing that second round of storms. Now, moving forward in time, this is noon tomorrow, noon Wednesday. Could see some additional shower and storm development on into the evening hours and overnight period tomorrow. And again, that's just according to this one model run. So again, an active weather period will continue for at least the next 24 to 36 hours before we finally start to kind of dry out. We'll still have a few rain chances on into the weekend, but they become much lesser as we go along. But again, right now, let's turn our warnings back on. I confused myself there for a second. I thought, wow, we got no active warnings. Yes, we do. So let's turn those back on. And again, severe thunderstorm warnings continue till 4:30 p.m. That's Central Time for all the areas you see lit up in yellow here. Mainly focusing on DeKalb and White counties at the moment, on up into far eastern Putnam County, including Monterey, and then points south are the areas we are really focused on here, again, with these severe thunderstorm warnings. So again, this activity is continuing to move towards the south at about 50 miles per hour. So again, Spencer, these storms will be to you probably in the next 15 minutes, McMinnville within the next 30 minutes, and then continuing south from there. Again, if you're just now tuning in, I'm Anthony Taylor here live in the soon-to-be decommissioned Upper Cumberland Weather Center, the old Weather Center that's also still new because we just moved here last year. But anyway, this is our old bedroom setup, though. This will soon be decommissioned as we move into our brand new studio. That is about 8 or 9 times larger than this bedroom, and will be a massive change in the way we present weather. Not just during severe weather, but also on a daily basis. We'll be able to produce daily forecast segments that'll air on our weather channel. And in addition to a lot of other things, a lot of opportunities this is going to open up for us. Again, of course, we've had severe weather for much of this afternoon, but I wasn't able to go live for those warnings early on due to work commitments and such. But again, hopefully we'll be able to transition into this being my full-time job soon, and maybe also be in a position, at least eventually, to me hiring on staff to work alongside me. So a lot of great things happening, and if you haven't already, or you feel compelled to do so, we do have a fundraiser going right now. Those details are on our Facebook page, raising funds to build out the new studio. We're about 3/4 of the way to our goal of $20,000, and it's all going towards electronics and desks and all sorts of things. Of course, I've been posting a few updates here and there on our Facebook page of our progress. We've got almost all the carpet laid. Our green screen's been painted. Our main weather wall has been painted. Now we're working on getting TVs mounted. Going to do all the wiring, the networking. So a lot of things still to do. But I'm hoping maybe by Labor Day we can be in there. But there's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff we still need to take care of. I'd like a new machine to run our severe weather coverage on. The setup I have right now really isn't ideal for severe weather. It looks great on y'all's end, but I can tell you right now this is not ideal the way this works. And is also prone to some issues with delays and such with getting on live. So, in fact, what y'all can't see, this monitor tends to flicker. So we got little issues like that I like to address. Some sound issues, audio things as well. Still lots of odds and ends that we're not currently budgeted for. So again, if you want to help with that, again, those details are on our Facebook page. We have a GoFundMe set up as well as our Venmo. I don't think I have any of that set up to show y'all on screen there, but again, you can find that. It's pinned to the top of our Facebook page, and again, it's all greatly appreciated. Going back to comments now, Liz says they're having to rescue people off of Willow. Never want to see that. Again, we had a lot of heavy rain move through Cookeville. Still raining in Cookeville right now as we speak. So again, sounds like a pretty intense flooding situation going on along Willow Avenue, which again, not the first time it's happened. I wish there was something they could do to fix that. Unfortunately, it sounds like we have some ongoing flooding issues there in Cookeville. We do have a flood advisory there at the bottom of your screen. You can see that scrolling there. So if you're in Cookeville, just use caution. If you come across a flooded roadway, again, turn around. Don't drown. Don't get yourself into that kind of situation, putting you and emergency workers at risk. Again, I know for some people it may just creeped up on them, and unfortunately, we hate when that happens. But again, we certainly pray for the emergency responders in those situations and the people involved. And hopefully we can get some of this rain on out of here soon. It's still raining kind of light to moderate showers right now for Cookeville. The clearing line is back up in Salina, so hopefully in the next 30 minutes or so we can get a lot of that rain out of there, and those flooding issues can begin to subside. Certainly too little too late, though, in some cases for some. Of course, we've had reports of power outages throughout the area in many locations. These are very electrical storms. A lot of lightning embedded within these. Of course, a lot of wind. We've had reports of tree limbs and such down. So again, it's a very active afternoon as this storm complex has moved south out of Kentucky. So what I'm going to do right now is I need to call my wife and kind of update her on what's going on. So I'm going to hop off camera for just a moment. I'm going to put this in full screen, so there's not going to be any audio for a moment. Give me a minute or two, and then I'll hop back on and we'll continue our live coverage. But I'm going to put radar in motion so y'all can see, again, how these storms have progressed over the last, few hours since lunchtime. And then once I get off the phone, then I will hop back on. So give me just a minute. All right, still here, folks. I know we had no audio though for a minute. I just wanted to brief my wife on what's going on. She's in Carthage right now. She's a school teacher. They had in service today, so just wanted to let her know that she is good to go and that she can come on about her business. So once we sign off here, once we get these warnings cleared out, I can go about my plans this evening. But anyway, new severe thunderstorm warnings just issued. So now all of Warren County, all of Van Buren County are in severe thunderstorm warnings. Weather Service really getting out ahead of this storm. These warnings are in effect till 5:15 p.m. Central Time, so a little over an hour from now before these warnings expire. Again, continuing that same concern, damaging straight line winds in excess of 60 miles per hour and quarter-size hail remain the concerns as these storms continue to move towards the south. They slowed down a little bit, now moving at about 30 miles per hour. Also, looks like the Weather Service did issue a flash flood warning that includes the city of Cookeville and points east towards Monterey. So flash flood warning in effect until 7:15 p.m. Between 1 to 2.5 inches of rain has fallen, with flash flooding occurring. Of course, y'all have been reporting that in the comments. Of course, we've heard of Willow Avenue, parts of that flooded. Again, lots of trouble spots there in Cookeville, of course, that are always prone to flooding, it seems like, due to poor drainage. But again, Cookeville, all good. Y'all are included in this flash flood warning. So again, if you're in the Cookeville area, I would definitely advise just not traveling for a little bit. Let this rain come to an end. Let those floodwaters subside. Again, we know there's been some, it sounds like from what some of y'all reported, there have been some rescues potentially ongoing right now. So we don't want to put anyone in any sort of predicament, for sure. Even though the worst of the weather is past, again, we want to let the conditions improve as far as flooding before we head out on the road. Again, flash flood warning in effect till 7:15 p.m. For the city of Cookeville. This also includes Allgood, Poplar Grove, Pinhook, Lake Valley, Woodland Estates. Does not include Baxter. Again, it's a very localized flash flood warning. Here you see the green polygon there on your screen. So all the areas there, again, flash flooding is ongoing. So again, you want to be mindful of that. And if you come across a flooded roadway, if you have to be out on the road, again, turn around, don't drown. Do not attempt to cross through flooded roads. You don't know how deep that water is. So again, we want to be mindful of that. Severe thunderstorm warning, again, McMinnville, Spencer, point south. Y'all are in the severe thunderstorm warning that also goes till 5:15 p.m. And again, damaging straight line winds, large hail remain the concerns here. Unfortunately, we don't yet have cameras down this way. I wish we did. We will eventually. We will eventually have cameras down here. But we can still see on radar. Very intense storm, Spencer. It has now arrived to you, so intense winds likely in the Spencer area. McMinnville, this will soon be moving through your area as well. No imminent tornado threat with any of this. This is purely a damaging straight line wind and large hail concern. And I can't show these on camera due to some media type issues involved with this, but I am looking at some photos right now of the flooding going on in Cookeville right now. The Walgreens parking lot off Willow Avenue is flooded. Parts of it are flooded, and I can see a vehicle that is probably a good foot or so, good foot and a half, maybe 2 feet of water. So again, we've had a very intense storm roll through, a lot of heavy rain in the Cookeville area. Again, we have a flash flood warning in effect till 7:15 p.m. Also, some flooding issues going on in the Allgood area as well. So, and several side streets are flooded. So, if you're in Putnam County, you don't want, if you're in the Cookeville area or Allgood, anywhere inside this green polygon, a very localized warning, but you want to try to stay off the roads. Let the emergency workers do their thing where there are vehicles trapped. Don't find yourself in a situation where you're needing to be rescued. Again, these waters will recede with time. Flash flood warning set to expire at 7:15. So Again, unless you just absolutely have to be out, I would recommend not getting out right now. Again, while we are dealing with that situation on some of these streets. Again, rain is beginning to let up some, which is great. The clearing line is now in Gainsboro, so give it another 15 to 30 minutes for full, and the rain should come to an end completely. And again, we should see some pretty drastic improvement in the flooding situation there here over the next couple of hours. But until that happens, again, I definitely advise against getting out on the roads. Again, that's Cookeville, Allgood, and the surrounding area there in central Putnam County. If you do have to be out, again, if you come across a flooded roadway, don't even attempt to cross it. Just turn around, go a different route. Don't find yourself in a situation where you're needing to be rescued. And again, I know it's still storming hard in Smithville, Sparta, Doyle, southern DeKalb County, on into western areas of Cumberland County, just west of Crossville. And we do still have active severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for another 13 minutes or so till 4:30 p.m. for these areas. So again, we could also have some flooding issues down this way too. It's been storming for quite a while. A lot of heavy rain has fallen over a short period of time. So again, we could have some localized flooding issues there as well. Same for McMinnville and Spencer, even though McMinnville hasn't reached you yet. As you can see, it is going to storm for some time down this way. So certainly something we want to be mindful of. See a little notching here on the reflectivity. We're going to look at the velocity view just to see if there's any rotation within that. I'm not seeing any rotation, so that's good. Just concerning radar signature, but nothing of actual concern with that right now that we can see on the velocity. So that's good news there. We'll still keep an eye on that feature, but even regardless of that, still that damaging straight line wind threat again now. Soon to move into McMinnville. McMinnville, if you look off in the distance, you can probably see a very well-defined shelf cloud moving in right now, crossing Highway 70, and soon to move into downtown with the leading edge of those strong winds. Again, perhaps upwards of 60 miles per hour, as well as the potential for some quarter-size hail. Looking at your comments, Bridget says Neal Street and Cookeville's flooded too. I know it's another trouble area usually. Southern Rebel Phoenix says Bachman Way and Sparta's flooded right now. So again, lots of issues with flooding throughout the area. Caitlin says it stopped in Boston Branch and they are flooded. Spring Creek is flooding. So lots of flooding issues ongoing right now, including a flash flood ongoing right now in the Cookeville area. So again, you want to be mindful of that if you're heading out. I don't advise traveling right now. If you're in Warren or Van Buren counties, let this storm pass before heading out. Same for southern DeKalb, southern White County. Now, the farther north you are, with the exception of Cookeville, we want you to, stay off the roads there because of the flash flooding threat. But everywhere else, I am giving an all clear as far as severe weather goes. So anywhere really along and north of I-40, you've got the all clear from severe weather. And northern portions of DeKalb County, northern portions of White County, and northern eastern areas of Cumberland County, you have an all clear from any severe weather threat at this point. It's now shifting more south again for McMinnville. Worst is now on top of Spencer right now, moving into southern portions of Van Buren County. Welchland, Pine Creek are next in line for these strong winds. Again, damaging winds in excess of 60 miles per hour remain possible along the leading edge of this line. And even once the leading edge passes you, winds will remain elevated for some time until this storm passes. A lot of heavy rain embedded within this as well. Of course, we've had some flooding issues in other areas, so that is something to also be mindful of. Some of these locations here have already had heavy storms roll through earlier this afternoon. So again, we've already seen heavy rain, so that this additional storm could worsen any rising water situations we already have. So again, flash flooding could be a problem here in the next hour or so for some of these locations, especially those that have already seen heavier storms earlier today. Again, the focus at this point is on our far southern areas from McMinnville into Van Buren County, with heavy activity still continuing from Smithville, Sparta, to just west of Crossville. Crossville, you are barely avoiding all of this, and at this time, there's nothing upstream from you that looks to affect you. So, Crossville, you're just going to get a lot of light to moderate rain with a little bit of embedded lightning, and that's about it. Once these storms roll through, I know we've talked about the potential for an evening round of storms. As of right now, the models are not showing that anymore. So we'll have to see. I can't rule out some additional pop-up type showers and storms this evening, perhaps overnight. But as of right now, the models aren't showing anything coming through. I think they have the right idea with this complex. They just had the timing completely off. So rather than coming through tonight, I know as of this morning, the models were showing this complex of storms arriving around midnight tonight. Instead, they'd come through during the early mid-afternoon hours, which, not the most ideal time in terms of people being out and about. But at least the most people are awake right now and can certainly see these storms roll through. So I guess you choose your battle there, which situation is more ideal or less ideal, but either way, we could definitely do without the severe thunderstorm warnings. Pretty much everyone's been under a severe thunderstorm warning at some point today as this complex has rolled through. But again, we'll soon get this on out of here. Again, McMinnville, the leading edge is almost to the city limits of McMinnville, so again, get set for that. Winds will be picking up quite a bit here momentarily. Still not seeing any signs of embedded rotation, which is good. Again, we cannot completely rule out a spin-up tornado this afternoon, but the threat is very low. However, we are seeing definitely some indications of the potential for damaging wind gusts. 58 to 60 mile per hour winds being detected a few thousand feet up, so a lot of that wind energy probably is making it to the ground. So again, if you're in McMinnville, again, damaging straight line winds are possible. You want to be indoors, away from windows as this rolls through. This isn't an active tornado threat, just a straight line damaging wind threat. Maybe some embedded hail with this as well. So again, you want to be indoors. If for no other reason, the lightning with this. A lot of intense cloud to ground lightning being detected with these storms across northern Warren County, central northern Van Buren County, on up still across DeKalb and White counties. Even into Sparta, where the rain's starting to let up just a little bit. Same for Smithville. Still a lot of lightning being detected in the area. So you want to be indoors until that lightning risk has diminished. In addition to the straight line wind threat as well, farther south. And I'm looking at your comments now. A lot of you mentioned the wind being rough in your various locations, which we've been tracking this afternoon, of course. We've seen that on our tower cams. We've seen that on radar. And y'all have confirmed that. Of course, we have areas of flooding ongoing, especially Cookeville right now. Most imminent flooding occurring in several areas of Cookeville. Of course, your usual suspect spots, your Willow Avenue, your Neal Street. Reports of flooding in both those areas, as well as some of the side streets as well. So just not a great situation right now in Cookeville. Definitely avoid traveling if you can, at least for the next couple of hours. Weather Service is coming out with a new flash flood warning. This includes the city of Sparta. Again, where we've also had heavy rain for an extended period of time. So Rainbow Hills all along Highway 111, just almost to the county line with Putnam County, including the city of Sparta down into Lost Creek. Bon Air, Hickory Hills also included within this flash flood warning. This is in effect until, pull it up on here, flash flood warning in effect till 7:30 p.m. And just like with Cookeville, radar indicates anywhere from 1 to 2.5 inches of rain has fallen, with additional showers continuing, and flash flooding is occurring. So again, Sparta, this includes you. Of course, Sparta also has a lot of areas prone to flooding as well. So again, you want to again stay off the roads if you can. If you have to be out, if you come across a flooded roadway, again, turn around, don't drown. Do not attempt to cross flooded roadways, and that's for everywhere. It doesn't matter if you're under a flash flood warning or not. If you come across a road with water running across it, and you don't know how deep that water is. It may look like it's shallow, but don't even attempt it. Just turn around, go a different way. Don't put yourself at risk. Don't put emergency workers at risk. Again, just the best in your vehicle. You don't want to. You got to fool with insurance and all that. Just turn around. Don't even deal with it. I know you want to get home. Everybody wants to get home. Don't put yourself in that situation if you can help it, though. Again, especially Sparta and Cookeville right now, where we have those two active flash flood warnings. So we'll widen out the radar image, kind of give you the wide picture here of what's going on. Again, we've had a complex of storms, an intense complex of storms, develop near the Indiana-Kentucky state line and has rolled south all throughout the afternoon. Remained intense the whole way through with severe thunderstorm warnings pretty much the entire way. It has rolled from north to south across the upper Cumberland over the last couple of hours, and finally reaching our far southern areas from McMinnville and Spencer and points south. So again, this is what we're watching right now. Severe thunderstorm warnings remain in effect for at least another 48 minutes here for McMinnville, Spencer area south of you. The movement of these storms hopefully may see the worst of this activity out of your area before that warning is set to expire. Against approaching 4:30 right now. I would say by 5 p.m. the leading edge of these storms will be south of Warren and Van Buren counties at that point, if not sooner. So, but a lot of heavy rain, intense lightning with these storms. Again, the potential for damaging straight line winds as well as they continue to push south. And again, there is your wide view. We'll put radar in motion. We broaden this out. You can see how these storms have progressed over the last several hours. This is going back to this is really going back in time. Which radar are we on? So this is around 1 o'clock this afternoon. Again, you can see this storm line there across western Kentucky. It pushed through central Kentucky, moved into areas along the Kentucky-Tennessee line around 3 p.m. And has continued to work its way south through the area over the last hour and a half to 2 hours. So again, we've been dealing with these storms for a couple of hours now. Even before this storm complex arrived, we did have a few scattered strong storms with warnings issued. But again, once this line moves through, now models have not been handling this system very well at all. Earlier this morning, they showed a complex of storms similar to this. I think this is what it was really picking up on, moving through around midnight tonight. Now the models aren't showing that. I think this is the main complex, but we still cannot totally rule out some additional activity later this evening and into tonight. But as of right now, we're not seeing anything imminent. So it's really just, we're going to watch radar, but I think we're probably good once this moves through. But again, we'll keep an eye on things. We'll let you know. If the models start picking up on something, we'll let you know. But as of right now, we're hoping this is it. Now, tomorrow we'll have additional storms possible throughout the day into the afternoon and evening hours. We could be doing this again. Could not be. Just depends. As we move into Thursday, Friday, though, we should get these rain chances to decrease quite a bit, and should hopefully get some quieter weather in here by this weekend. So, again, a couple of active weather days here. Certainly an active afternoon. Probably one of the more active afternoons we've had in quite some time here in the Upper Cumberland. Again, summer storms are very common here. Not been as common this year, but, you know, like last year was very common. Each year is different, but certainly we are ready to get these storms on out of here. And again, for the rest of this evening and tonight, we'll have to keep an eye on things. But right now, models are trending towards a whole lot of nothing happening through tonight. But don't bank on that. You know, just as we didn't know this complex of storms was going to roll through now. Again, we didn't know what time these storms were going to roll through. Again, no guarantees with tonight. But again, as of right now, we're looking okay. So, again, that's the best answer I can give you with regards to tonight, those of you asking. It is 4:30 p.m. The storms remain pretty strong. Last few radar returns like they might have weakened just a little bit as they continue to move towards the south. Still, though, McMinnville The leading edge of the storm is now on top of you, so winds likely gusting pretty hard in the McMinnville area. And again, this continues on into Van Buren County as well. Again, if you're just now tuning in, I'm Anthony Taylor, again in the what will soon be the decommissioned Upper Cumberland Weather Center and the spare bedroom that we have set up here. Soon we'll be operating out of our new studio facility. We're building it out right now, and I'm excited to get moved in there for sure. We'll definitely make going live during severe weather a lot easier. We'll have a lot more room to move around, and definitely a lot more opportunities will present themselves with that new space as well. So again, very excited. If you want to contribute towards that project, again, we're about 3/4 of the way towards our final goal. And again, those details are on our Facebook page. And again, I cannot thank those who've donated enough towards that project. Again, we've got a lot done, still a lot left to do. Off camera here is a big 85-inch TV ready to be mounted in there. It's kind of like a mini Best Buy in here. I've joked with people with all the electronics, not just what we already have, but the new stuff that's going to go in the new studio. So we're excited to get all that set up and become active from there. But again, hoping maybe by Labor Day, if not shortly thereafter, we should hopefully be operational from the new studio. But we're still here in the old studio. Call it old, but my wife and I just moved into our new house last year, so it's really not that old, but it will soon be the old studio in terms of how we do our coverage. Now, moving forward, once we do get settled in the new studio, it's just up the road from where I live, so I can quickly get there in a severe thunderstorm situation. But if the need arises, I needed to go live quicker than that, I will still have that ability here. We just won't have all the fancy stuff behind me here because, again, that's all transitioning over to the new studio. Last few radar returns, the storm has weakened a little bit, looks like, which is good news. Still strong, still that potential for damaging straight line winds embedded within this. In fact, that radar return right now, definitely seeing potential for damaging winds right now in the city of McMinnville, where you see those oranges. Those are winds potentially in the 60 to 70 mile per hour range. Now that's a loft, looking a few thousand feet up, but even still, I would not be surprised if we do have maybe some 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts reaching the surface there in McMinnville, at least according to that radar image. Let's look at High Top and just see if we have any agreement there. And yeah, still seeing that from High Top as well. So definitely a lot of wind energy embedded within that storm again over McMinnville. So again, you want to be indoors right now if you're in McMinnville until this passes, away from windows. Again, very strong storm moving over top of McMinnville and also towards the east here in Van Buren County, Spencer and points south here along Highway 111. Again, very heavy storm activity right now. Severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect until 5:15 p.m. For this storm. Farther north, finally, Cookeville, rain is beginning to come to an end. Still have a flash flood warning in effect till 7:30 p.m. or 7:15 p.m. rather. And again, we still have ongoing flooding issues there in the Cookeville area. So again, if you have to get out, if you come across a flooded road, again, do not attempt to cross it. Otherwise, I would just avoid traveling at least for the next hour or so until those floodwaters come down there in Cookeville. And the same story for Sparta. Again, rain has let up quite a bit. Still some light to moderate showers falling in the Sparta area. But again, if you are there, you got a flash flood warning in effect till 7:30 p.m. And it's the same story for you. If you come across a flooded roadway again, do not attempt to cross it. As far as active severe thunderstorm warnings, we're beginning to clear the map there. Only Warren and Van Buren counties in their viewing area. Also Cannon County, Woodbury, points south. Woodbury is just outside our viewing area. For now, I say for now, that's all I'm going to say on that right now. Potentially could begin covering that area with time. Don't want to get too ahead of myself with that, but again, severe thunderstorm warning in effect for you as well till 5:15, and again, damaging winds and large hail being the concerns there for southern areas of Camden County down towards Midway. Again, we continue with this warning for another 39 minutes I do think the leading edge of this storm will probably be south of Warren and Van Buren counties by that point. In fact, I think most of this activity will be shifting out of Warren and Van Buren by the time this warning is set to expire. But Coffee, Grundy County, if anybody's watching down that way, just heads up, this is moving your way, and you are under a severe thunderstorm warning as well till 5:15 p.m. Farther east, now we have viewers in East Tennessee. You're just a little outside our viewing area here. But Pikeville, again, you're also in a severe thunderstorm warning until 6 p.m. Eastern time. This also includes Dayton and points east there towards Sweetwater. So if anybody's watching over that way, again, some intense storms over your way as well. All of this is warned for the potential of damaging winds in excess of 60 miles per hour. Even farther east into East Tennessee, Sevierville, Pigeon Forge, Morristown, all getting in on this as well with severe thunderstorm warnings over that way too. So very intense line of storms. I'll be curious to see if this gets classified as derecho potentially. All the wind we had, especially if we end up seeing a lot of wind damage reports along this line for as long as it's held together. We'll have to wait and see if this gets that sort of classification. But again, looks like the Weather Service has removed some more areas from the severe thunderstorm watch. In our viewing area, Overton, Fentress, Smith, Jackson, and Trousdale counties have been removed from the severe thunderstorm watch. Macon, Clay, and I think Pickett were removed earlier. So we are seeing some counties removed from that watch. Putnam County, you have the all clear as well. Cumberland County, I'm giving you the all clear. Really, everywhere except for Warren and Van Buren counties, I'm giving the all clear to as far as severe weather for at least the next several hours. As of right now, the models aren't showing any additional activity later this afternoon or evening, so that's good news. But we'll still keep an eye on radar in case things change. Again, we did have models showing another cluster of storms later tonight, but as of right now, they're no longer showing that. Again, it's summertime. We don't have like a cold front or anything moving through, so we can get outflow boundaries and other nuanced features to see if there could be a storm development. And again, that's something we'll be watching for. But again, as of right now, not too concerned about any additional activity, but won't 100% rule it out right now. Interesting to note that we have a lightning strike that's been detected here southeast of Livingston. You might can see that on screen there. And there's no storm nearby, so that just goes to show you that it does not have to be storming overhead to get lightning. As long as there's convection nearby. So the tops of these storms are likely shooting out a lot farther, and you have a lot of electrical energy with these storms. So again, just something to keep in mind, not just with these storms, but any kind of summer storms we see. Again, severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect till 5:15 p.m. Central Time for Warren and Van Buren counties. You can see it there on your screen flashing in the yellow polygon. And it's these areas we're continuing to watch for damaging straight line wind pitch. While I'll zoom in a little bit tighter, you can see some communities here. Morrison, Mount Zion, Irving College, Spring Creek. Should be seeing those winds pick up here momentarily if they aren't already. As well as central southern areas of Van Buren County. White Hill, Pine Creek, Welchland, Pine Grove. Again, you're all in on this right now too. As these storms continue to move towards the south. Movement is towards the south at about 40 miles per hour. They've been speeding up, slowing down as time's gone on, as time has progressed. Curious to see. Let's go look at our Carthage Tower cam, even though it's not storming there. See if we have maybe some sun out in Carthage right now. Now this is an older view, still cached in our system, so give this just a moment. You can see just how strong that storm was though in Carthage. Now you can see blue sky. Blue sky starting to appear in Carthage right now behind the storm. So once this activity moves out, some clearing will happen. So calm conditions right now in Carthage. Same story in Gainsboro. Again, you saw the storm rolling through earlier, but now skies have calmed or clearing out a little bit. Still some cloudiness there, but again, calm conditions now in Gainesboro. And again, this will be the scene across the entire region here soon as these storms again begin to shift south of us. Still ongoing flash flood warning right now for the city of Cookeville and Allgood, where we still have some rising waters there on some of the roadways in those areas. So again, you want to be mindful of that. If you have to be out and about in Cookeville, Allgood, even though the rain has ended, you still want to be mindful of that potential for flooding. Again, we do have several areas that have been flooded there, especially Willow Avenue, Neal Street, and some of the other suspect areas there, prone to flooding, and we've had some issues with that. So again, those issues should begin to subside over the next hour or two, but again, just take it easy in Cookeville. Same for Sparta. Again, we have another flash flood warning down your way, again in effect till 7:30 p.m. So it's still raining lightly in Sparta. That'll soon be coming to an end, but the flash flood issues may persist for at least a couple more hours. So again, if you're in Sparta, I'd advise against traveling, but if you have to, just be mindful that there are some flooded areas. Don't attempt to cross them for sure. Let's take a look at the velocity on this storm. Still seeing a lot of wind energy with this, at least some 50 to 60 mile per hour winds aloft, which may be translating to 40 to 50 mile per hour winds closer to the surface. Could have a few instances of 60 mile per hour winds within this as well. Again, that's for McMinnville over into far southern Van Buren County. Again, severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect till 5:15 as the leading edge of the storm approaches the Morrison and Viola communities in Warren County. Farther north, again, I've already given all clears to DeKalb, White, Cumberland counties as far as severe weather is concerned, and points north. So all these areas where it's not raining right now, or only raining lightly, again, you have the all clear at least for the next several hours. As of right now, the models are not showing an additional complex of storms rolling through, which is good, but we will keep an eye on that in case we do have any additional development later on. But again, right now, not thinking we'll see anything, but still can't rule out any additional activity. It looks like this storm's starting to fall apart a little bit. Still heavy, still some strong winds, but not as organized as it was in previous scans. So we hope that trend will continue, especially for our neighbors farther south, as these storms continue to progress. I think the heavier activity is shifting more east now, towards Athens, areas northeast of Chattanooga. So again, for those areas, still a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings in effect. Virginia, this is the great state of Tennessee. One of the comments that popped up there. So we cover northeastern, middle Tennessee, areas east of Nashville. So if you're not in Tennessee, and I don't cover the whole state, we're a very localized area, cover 14 counties here, in between Nashville and Knoxville. Mainly the Cookeville area and the surrounding communities here again in Tennessee. I'm not like Ryan Hall. I don't do the whole U.S. I don't know how he does that. But I definitely do my best in these situations. We have active warnings here for our viewing area. Beverly watching in Detroit, so we're reaching a lot of different areas right now. I'm curious, those who aren't in the Upper Cumberland, I'm curious where you're watching us from. So I know we have someone in Detroit. Curious where all our viewers are right now, not just here in the Upper Cumberland area of Tennessee. But again, this storm continues to weaken on radar, which is great to see. Still pretty strong just south of Woodbury from Bradyville on into Centertown and western Warren County. So again, still some gusty winds possible with this. Again, still some lightning, not as continuous as we were seeing, which is great news. Nothing new in the Weather Service chat, which is always good to see. Again, still pretty intense storm across Warren and Van Buren counties, but not as strong as it was. Mostly just a lot of heavy rain. with some embedded gusty winds. Not as much lightning with this as we were seeing earlier. We'll go to velocity. Just take a look at this. Still see some wind energy with this, though, aloft, especially along the Warren-Van Buren County line. So, could still have some maybe 40, 50 mile per hour winds. I would be surprised if they're severe strength at this point, just from what we can see on radar. I'll take a look at this from the high top Alabama radar site, and kind of the same story. I think the more organized activity is beginning to shift more into southeastern Tennessee, from Athens, Dayton, Tellico Plains, down that way on up into East Tennessee, Sevierville, Morristown, over that direction. But again, for us, in our viewing area, Warren, Van Buren County still covering the storm. If anyone's watching over in Pikeville, there in Bledsoe County, strongest activities beginning to shift more into the eastern portions of the county, on down into Dunlap. Again, as the storm activity continues to push south. Still seeing, I'm perplexed by the lightning being detected. Cookeville, Livingston. Still little lightning strikes there. Seeing some lightning in this area, and it's not even storming. So, wonder if there's any. Let's take a look at this from some other radar sites. So while it's not raining at the surface level, these cloud bases from this storm still extend several miles out, a good 20, 30 miles out from the parent storm. So we're still seeing some lightning embedded within this, so kind of surprising to see, but the cloudiness you're seeing overhead is still associated with this same storm system. So if you're up in Cookeville, Livingston, Byrdstown, Jamestown, just a heads up, even though it's not raining now, you do still have that threat of lightning overhead. Not a whole lot of lightning being detected, but still an ongoing lightning potential in those areas, even though it's not raining overhead. Don't see that every day for sure, but definitely indicative of a very strong storm that has just rolled through. Again, flash flood warnings continue for the Cookeville area as well as the Sparta area for the next couple of hours. The storm continues to weaken here in Warren and Van Buren County. So I'm going to make a judgment call here. If the storm continues to weaken over the next couple of radar scans, I think around 4:55. So here in about 5 minutes, I think I'll sign off from coverage. Just because I think the severe weather threat is beginning to diminish here. Even with this active warning, we're not seeing the same reflectivity signatures of severe strength winds and storminess here in Warren and Van Buren County. So with this transitioning more into just a general thunderstorm, I think I'll be able to give the all clear as far as covering this storm. According to Nikita, water rescue is still ongoing, it sounds like, in the Cookeville area. So if you're in Cookeville with that flash flood warning, again, you want to avoid heading out if you can. If you come across a flooded roadway, again, turn around, don't drown. Do not attempt to cross a flooded roadway. And same story for Sparta. Again, flash flood warning continues till 7:30 p.m. for the Sparta area. So we'll stay live with this for a little bit longer. Again, the severe thunderstorm warning is set to expire at 5:15, pending cancellation sooner than that. Again, this is for Warren and Van Buren counties. As of right now, I'm not seeing anything too concerning with that, but again, we'll continue to keep an eye on it for at least a few more minutes. But it looks like the strongest activity is beginning to transition more into southeastern portions of the state. Here, especially from Dunlap into Dayton, Athens, Tellico Plains. Those are all outside our viewing area, but it looks like the strongest, again, severe activity is more over that way at this point in time. Is lightning on your radar ground strikes, just any flash of lightning? On this particular view, it's not set to differentiate. But again, with any lightning, it doesn't matter. You still want to be indoors while there's still ongoing lightning and thunder, because you could get a cloud to ground strike even if those are in the clouds. So again, you want to be mindful of that anytime you hear thunder. Let's see. So still nothing new on the Weather Service chat. Keep going back to the velocity view. We have this little hook feature on the reflectivity northwest of McMinnville, but we're not seeing anything on the velocity view to indicate anything of concern with that. I think it's just more a feature of the storm, not necessarily anything of concern. But still something we'll continue to keep an eye on. But as of right now, nothing I'm too terribly concerned about. Again, heaviest activity really at this point is more east of us. That latest radar return, that feature went away, so that's good to see. So really think this storm here in Warren County, Van Buren County, the severe threat I think is with this storm. We're not seeing anything remotely severe with this, just some heavier showers farther south, and it's just some light to moderate rain in the Spencer area. McMinnville, still some heavy rain occurring here in the McMinnville area, down into Morrison, Viola. But again, I would be surprised if these winds are reaching that 60-mile-per-hour threshold for a severe warning. In fact, I would be surprised if they're much higher than 30 miles per hour within that. But still an ongoing severe thunderstorm warning till 5:15. But I think this warning could be expired early. The way the storm is trending, but we'll have to wait and see. That's a Weather Service call for sure. Of course, we've seen these storms pulse up and die down. But I think at this point for McMinnville, the storm has just about ran its course as it moves in the southern areas of Warren County. Still a strong storm, still a lot of heavy rain with this, but I'm not seeing anywhere nearly as much lightning with this. And again, that wind threat, again, we're not seeing those same wind signatures that we were earlier farther north. So again, all good things to see. Still an active severe thunderstorm warning regardless. Freddie says it's still thundering and lightning like crazy up in Fentress County, despite the heaviest rains having pushed on through. So we're still seeing lightning across some of our eastern areas, despite the storms having pushed on through. So we're not quite done yet as far as the lightning risk goes, unless you're farther north and west. Areas from Carthage, Gainesboro, Salina, Lafayette, Hartsville, you're pretty well good to go. Let's talk about a few additional showers trying to pop up, though. And that's, like I said, we're not... I can't say we're totally done with our severe, or at least our storm threat for the remainder of this evening and tonight, but at least as of the latest model runs, we're not seeing that same complex of storms rolling through overnight. I think this is probably it, but we can't rule out additional activity later this evening. But again, as of right now, we're trending towards this really being it. But should anything pop up or we see anything of concern, we'll let you know. Weather Service has removed more areas from the severe thunderstorm watch. Cumberland County, Putnam County, y'all have been removed. For now, DeKalb County, Van Buren County, Cannon, Warren, Watt remain in the warning, or in the watch rather. But again, DeKalb, Watt, Cumberland, your severe weather threat has ended with this round. And really Van Buren County too, and really even Warren County, I think we can just about give you an all clear, especially north of McMinnville. You have the all clear. If you're south of McMinnville, still some heavy storm activity still to go. But I think at this point, I feel pretty confident in that the primary severe risk has shifted more southeast of us at this point. So I think with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Let's do this. Let's turn off our warnings, and we're going to look at future radar. So for those of you watching in areas where it's not storming right now, we can see what we can expect over the next several hours. So again, models haven't handled this too well today, but we'll still take a look regardless and see what we can expect for the remainder of this afternoon. So this would be future radar at 9 p.m. and again, potentially could have some isolated to scattered showers and storms develop. Maybe some rain showers continuing into the overnight period, with additional cells again developing tomorrow. So again, as of right now, we're not seeing like a big complex of storms roll through, but at least this model run's trying to indicate there might still be some scattered storms that may try to refire later this evening into tonight. But again, there's no guarantee with this. Again, the models did not handle this complex of storms well. They did handle it well in terms of showing the complex of storms rolling through, but the timing was just all over the place. So did not handle the timing very well at all. But so we'll have to wait and see. We'll let you know if there's anything of concern later on. But for right now, we're not too terribly concerned about the remainder of this evening. But you can see even upstream here, up into Illinois, back into western Kentucky, still seeing a few storms beginning to fire back that way. So we'll keep an eye on activity like that, and here in the upper Cumberland. But for now, our focus is on what's being through now. And again, that severe threat is shifting southeast of us at this point. So at this time, it's 4:58. I'm going to sign off from coverage, seeing as our severe weather threat is beginning to diminish. We'll still be around. So should any additional storms fire later this evening or tonight, we'll of course let you know. If there are any additional warnings, we'll go live for them. But again, I think we're really beginning to transition more out of the severe weather threat. But again, we can't rule out the possibility of additional activity later on. But for now, I'm going to sign off of here with these warnings soon set to expire. Flash flood threat continues right now, though, for Cookeville and Sparta, so be mindful of that in those areas. Otherwise, again, the severe weather threat with this round is diminishing. Not seeing any signs of another round later tonight, but we could have additional pop-up showers and storms. So again, we'll let you know if there's anything of concern with that. But y'all stay safe and God bless.